LoreWarrior Online, the Stooping Hawk. Overview. When the Omni-Mech was introduced in 2854, Clan Blood Spirit simply assumed its perennial lack of resources with which to bargain or fight would prevent it from obtaining this superior technology. However, Clan Firemandrel, seeking to increase its land holdings, offered the Blood Spirits the new tech in exchange for territory. Clan Blood Spirit scientists were eager to design their own Omni-Mech and got their chance when Ghost Bear phased out its Omni-Mech Prototype A in favour of the Mad Dog. The Blood Spirits would win the Bear prototype in a trial possession, developing it to its fullest, and christened it the Stooping Hawk. Capabilities. The frame of the Stooping Hawk is constructed with an extra light endosteel skeleton, advanced compound alpha ferrofibrous armour, and double heatsinks. The Blood Spirit scientists cast recognised that Khan at Boaks would not approve of the extra light engine and used the standard engine for the Stooping Hawk. The XL power plant, with its comparative lack of durability on the field, would have defied Khan Boaks' order for low-cost, rugged mech designs. The materials used in the Stooping Hawk were considered excessive by Blood Spirit standards, and the weaponry that the designers managed to load into its 4 initial configurations was likewise extreme. Massive autocannons, particle projector cannons, advanced missile tracking systems, and an advanced targeting computer appear in versions of this design. Other clans mount these systems in their Omnis as a matter of course, but the Blood Spirit Khans regularly review the Stooping Hawk performance records to determine if the results continue to justify the cost. If not for its ongoing battlefield success, this atypical Spirit Mech would have been decommissioned long ago. Deployment. The Stooping Hawk is fairly rare even amongst the Blood Spirits. However, this design did take on new life when elements from the 55th Red Vanguard cluster of the Blood Spirits Alpha Galaxy successfully raided Clan Startadder for their new heavy laser technology. This advanced weaponry was quickly installed on a new configuration of this venerable Omni-Mech. So the Stooping Hawk is 55 ton, its chassis is the York YT, its power plant is a 275 standard, giving it a cruise speed of 54 kph and a max speed of 86 with no jump capacity. Its armour is compound alpha ferrofibrous, and its armament is 21.5 ton of pod space, manufactured by York Omni-Mech Y1 facility with communication system being the York Y2 COM, as targeting and tracking is the York Y2 TNT. This gives it a walk of 5 and a run of 8 with 10 double heatsinks for a total of 20. It has 9 armour on the head, 29 on the CT, 7 on the rear, 21 on the side torsos with 5 on the rear, 18 on the arms and 20 on the legs. By default, there are several configurations, but the primary one mounts an ER medium laser in the left arm, a medium pulse laser in the left arm, an Ultra AC-10 in the right torso with its ammo of 30 shots, its ER medium laser in the right arm as well, and another pulse laser in the right arm, and then it has jump jets, weirdly enough, in the left, centre and right torso, so it does actually have jump capacity in the prime configuration. The Alpha configuration is an extra double heatsink in the left arm with an ER-PPC in the left torso, an extra 3 double heatsinks in the left torso, with an ER-PPC then in the right torso, with an extra 3 double heatsinks, and a bunch of jump jets. Essentially, I'm getting the impression that this thing should have had jump jets right from the start. Alternate configuration B has an ER large laser in the head of all places, an LRM-15 in the left torso with fire control provided by Artemis in that section, and 16 rounds of ammo in the left torso. Then the right torso has the same setup, and then the right arm has an LRM-15 and Artemis fire control on the arm. Alternate configuration C has a ER large laser in the head again, with a ER medium laser in the left arm, a targeting computer in the left torso, 3 double heatsinks in the left torso, an ER large in the CT, an ER medium in the right torso with an extra 3 double heatsinks, another double heatsink in the right arm, and you guessed it, jump jets. And finally, alternate configuration Delta has an ER larger in the head once more, 2 ER mediums in the left arm, an ER small in the left arm, and an extra double heatsink, 5 more double heatsinks in the left torso, another double heatsink in the center torso, 5 more double heatsinks in the right torso, and then 3 heavy medium lasers in the right arm. This one's a bit all over the place. The art, I don't dislike. The big bird head design is obviously like everything with the clans. It's on the nose, and it has these long, gangly arms. It looks very generic, I guess you'd say, sort of like the default model before, stylistic changes are made to it. And all Blood Spirit did was they just added a bird head on the top and went, that'll do. As far as the builds are concerned, obviously it runs the gamut of what the writers always do with Omnimex, as in there's not really any kind of background for why these different builds came about. So, to get at what I'm talking about here, when I read about a battle mech in the technical readouts, the well-written ones, the ones that aren't just like short, sharp things that don't have much background, but when they talk about variants, they'll usually give a bit of background about, like because of, this version was built because the company that were making it had a contract from another buyer, but this buyer wanted something that was more of a sniper build. Okay, so they build this, and they're starting to filter into such and such's forces. Or a variant came about because, there was a problem with one of the weapon systems, so engineers removed it, and they changed it with this weapon system, and that was popular, so it became another variant. That kind of thing. There's a reason for these things existing. The configurations don't really have any proper write-up. The primary, for instance, it's an all-rounder, meant to fight at medium and short range, because it's equipped with ER mediums and pulse lasers, and an Ultra 10. So, it gets in close where it can with its jump jets. It can run at a decent speed, it can run 8, and it can jump 3 jump jets. I think that gives it a jump of, 5 as well. Or it might be 583, I can't remember. But someone will tell me in the comments. But, it's maneuverable. It gets into the fight, and it just starts dropping damage on people. Clearly, the idea behind Alternate A is it's a sniper, and it just sits there firing 2 ERPPCs. Obviously, we have to remember this is clan ERPPCs, so they're doing a lot more. They're doing 15 damage per hit. So there's a lot of damage there, potentially 30 points of damage per round of fire if it's accurate with both hits. It's got lots of extra heat sinks, and it's got jump jets, so presumably this is also a mech that's supposed to be hopping around into advantageous spots and taking shots and moving. Don't know why that couldn't have been a brief write-up. Alternate configuration B. It's a fire support mech. It's got 3 LRM-15s with a single ER large for backup, and it lacks ammo. So, why was that built, for instance? Why did Blood Spirit decide to go, right, we need a fire support unit? Okay, what's their mindset when they decided to sit down and they settled on, let's have the LRM-15s, and then we'll do it that way. Why didn't they do a different build that could maybe have more armor? Why didn't the laser get dropped to something that's a bit lighter so it could free up more room for more ammunition so it could perform its intended role better? Because obviously 16 shots per ton split between 3 LRM-15 launchers, it's not going to last long. But there's obviously a little bit of an idea, a narrative behind that, but we don't get it, and it's kind of frustrating. The alternate configuration C, obviously it's meant to be one, again, that's an all-rounder. It just uses its lasers, but it's got a targeting computer, so obviously the idea is it's meant to be able to maybe pinpoint weak spots on enemy units, and it gets up to them and it fires its lasers, and like with its extra heat sinks, and it carves bits off mechs, or it targets vehicles, or it's meant to hit aircraft, something like that. And also configuration Delta is the only one that we have even a modicum of a background info here, because it's recent and it was built to take advantage of the new heavy laser technology that they managed to get hold of. So it mounts 3 of them on its right arm with a bunch of other lasers, so it's going all in on this idea of this new laser technology to make it even more damaging in the mid-range brawl. Okay, makes perfect sense. If they could just give me a little bit in these books, just a little reason for why different clans picked these configurations for their Omnimex. The philosophy, a particular star commander came up with it, or a star captain once modified such and such an Omnimech, and they had great results of it, and it was such a hit. It impressed the commanders so much that like the Khan of the clan was like, oh, this is amazing, I will commission this will be a new configuration across all of our Omnimex of this time. That kind of thing would be cool. It gives a little bit more character and background. That kind of thing. Rather than just being like, here's fire support, here's a sniper, here's a brawler, here's a scout, this one hits things with that. It's boring. It takes away a lot of the Battletech is all about the flavour. It's got so much to it. The mechs are the characters in a lot of the books. You know, you buy a technical readout because you want to see the mech, you want to see what the new toys are, and then you also want to get a feel for these machines, the story behind them. And when they do this with the Omnimechs, it's so sad. And Omnimechs are really popular. You know, there's a whole generation of MechWarrior players who only know the clans, who only know Omnimechs. The jingly keys, if you put a Timberwolf on something, that's it. You know, you could lead them off a cliff with a picture of a mad dog at some at some points, because they're just that obsessed with it, because that's what they grew up with. That's what they know. They wouldn't know a Clint if it walked up and slapped them in the face. They wouldn't know what that's from. They go, is that from Macross? They wouldn't fucking know. But Omnimechs are the thing that a lot of these people know, and then they do them a disservice by not writing them with more interesting configuration backgrounds. It's a nitpick, don't get me wrong, this is me ranting here. I understand it, most people are rolling their eyes just going, oh yeah, whatever, it's just a build thing, and I get that. But for me, I love the background and the writing and the reason for these things. It's really interesting to me reading about real world military equipment from the Second World War. One of the things I really enjoy reading about and understanding, why did they make certain changes to real world armoured vehicles? What was the reason? Why did they alter the gun? What was what was the benefit? What was the drawback? What event caused that change in a vehicle? And they have that. They could do it here and they don't, and that's what really annoys me. But outside of that, Stooping Hawk's alright. It looks a bit stupid, but its builds are really good. Have a good one. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a good one. Bye bye.